Hey, how's it going? Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. As of now, it seems like the world is still intact. I thought for sure it would be burnt down by this point. And the reason I say that is because on Saturday, we obviously had that breaking news where the Senate acquitted our former 45th president, Donald Trump, in his second impeachment trial. Didn't have the votes to fully convict him. So I thought for sure, people were going to lose their minds. So we're going to knock on some wood right now because I didn't want to be the one to jinx us. But moving forward, we're not actually talking anymore about the impeachment because I said from the very beginning I didn't care for it. So instead, we're talking about a topic that I think is much more important. I think it's much more detrimental, really not only to the discourse in our society, but I really just like the overall health of it as well. So this particular topic, it was inspired by a good buddy of mine. He sent me this particular post. We took a screenshot of it, and I'll show it to you in a second. And it really is the inspiration behind today's video. But I just want to say, the particular topic is going to be around, I guess, kind of identity politics and stuff like that, like how people are more into collectivism as opposed to individualism. So just kind of ponder, you can swish that around in your mouth and kind of think about, what are we going to be chatting about now? So without further ado, I'll show you the photo. So the individual who posted this, his name is Talib Kweli. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. If not, well, you can obviously correct me. But there's the quote, front and center. It reads, "Pro-blackness is about equality. Pro-whiteness is Nazi and KKK stuff." So give you a second to kind of digest that, ponder your thoughts on it. From here, I think we're just going to kind of fast forward. I'll say, obviously, we're going to come back to this. We'll dissect this, and I'll let you know what I think about it. But the second photo was taken in the comment section. So let's kind of get to that right now. So someone responds to, again, this particular post, the one you just saw, and they said, "Racism at its finest. Way to guide others concerning equality," in quotation marks. "So very disappointing to see a successful American man so narrow-minded." So, okay, it's a response. You might agree, you might disagree, but nonetheless, it's a response. To which Talib responds, "White supremacist hiding in plain sight." So again, give you a moment to dissect it. I obviously chuckle because, I personally think that people saying white supremacy, domestic terrorism, you're a racist, you're a bigot, whatever the buzzword is, it's always a new buzzword, right? But whatever the buzzword is, I think it's been overplayed these past 4 years, like to a ridiculous level. I'm in the camp of anyone that says these particular phrases. They're the boy who cried wolf, obviously one too many times. You obviously know how the story goes. And the issue that you run into is, one, it actually detracts from legitimate examples of, people exhibiting, trying to be a white supremacist, or, trying to uphold white supremacy, people actually going out and being racist towards others, bigots, whatever it is, you name it. I think overplaying and overusing the words or phrases, it takes away from actual examples, because people like myself, I might be speaking for you, I might not be speaking for you, but I'm just, kind of speaking my mind right now, in that I personally feel the words are so overused that when people say it, I kind of sit there and I'm like, is it actually racist, or is it something you just disagree with? You know what I mean? Like, let me know if you're kind of on that same boat as well. Let me know if you're not on that same boat. But that's, honestly, after these past 4 years and people just throwing accusations around left and right, that's honestly kind of my response. Whenever someone says, hey, this is racist, this is a white supremacist, I look into it a little bit more, which I guess isn't a bad thing, because, you should want to kind of fact check. You can't just believe the fact checkers. You have to fact check the fact checkers. But let's go back to the particular post, right? The example. I guess we'll get into that now. We got through the first part kind of quick, which was nice. But the whole, pro-blackness is about equality, pro-whiteness is Nazi and KKK stuff, right? We'll stay family friendly here, right? We'll censor ourselves. But, with the whole pro-whiteness quote, I can absolutely sit there and I can say, hey, you know what? There's absolutely, people throughout history that would say, pro-white or white power, right? I'm thinking of the Dave Chappelle skit. But, and they were absolutely, they were bigots. They were, people trying to uphold white supremacy, things of that nature. So I can sit there, I can understand that. But where we kind of, get into the crossroads is, saying, well, pro-blackness is about equality, but now people today saying pro-white is, related to all the bigotry stuff, is, I think, if we continue to believe that and we say, hey, this is the bar that we set, nobody can use that particular language except for, bigoted people. The issue that I think we run into is we give weight to that particular phrase. So kind of, stick with me through this. Let me walk it out. So if we're going to say that you can't say the phrase pro-white because it's rooted in bigotry and white supremacy, you're giving weight to the word to where when individuals like, racists and whatnot actually do say it, it's going to have that much more power behind it. So I guess my kind of take on it is, hey, but before you just go throw someone off the edge and say, you know what, you just said this particular phrase, or you disagree with me politically, so I'm just going to label you with all these particular buzzwords. Try and listen to them. Like, actually sit there and try and have a conversation. Listen to what it is that they're trying to present to you, right? Let them present their case. Because my take is, if we allow, the normal people, that's really just what I refer to them as. Not everyone is obviously a bigot, but if we just refer or let the individuals who happen to be white say, hey, we're going to change what pro-white means. It's just going to mean, hey, we want white people to do good, just like we want black people to do good, Asian people, Indian people, whatever, right? You can go down the list. But if we allow the good people to take over that quote or that phrase and change it, well, I think that will do more good than harm. And the reason for that is because then you're going to take the power away from that particular word or that phrase. So then when the bigots try and use it, you're going to say, oh, no, right? We have this new meaning behind the word. And then what are they going to do? You kind of get what I'm trying to say? I guess it's kind of like a little bit tricky, but I'm trying to sit there and say, we can't say that we're all for equality if we're going to deem, hey, this phrase is good, this phrase is bad. This phrase is good, this phrase is bad. To me, that's too much. Let's just try and even the playing field. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to say, hey, pro-black is about equality, you need to take my word. You need to take it, from the horse's mouth when I say, hey, pro-white is about equality as well. I want whites to be equal to blacks, and I don't want anyone to be higher up than anybody else. Could you sit there and could you listen to me, right? Or would you kind of fall down this particular rabbit hole and say, no, you're just a white supremacist hiding in plain sight? And that's kind of a big issue that I think our society is getting into, because if we stick to this whole identity politics stuff, it's just going to make the conversations not last. It's going to make the political tension continue to rise. And I think it's going to have some really negative repercussions on us long term. And plus, the other thing to kind of take away from it is when people get involved in all the identity politics and stuff like that, it really does kind of take away from your character. And what I mean by that is, I really haven't met a particular person who's big on identity politics that's just genuinely a chill person. Like, everyone seems to kind of be like finger pointing at you, like, rah, rah, rah. You don't agree with everything I say, rah, rah, rah. You suck, you're this, you're that. Whereas people that are disconnected from identity politics and they're just like, hey, I treat everyone as equals. I'm one for individual liberties, and I want individuals to prove to me that they're a good person. Like, the people that I meet that are in that camp, they tend to be the chillest people that you could imagine. The people you can go around, have a nice cold adult beverage with, talk about all different topics, and it doesn't resort to just name calling and, oh, you disagree with me, so now I'm going to put you into this particular box, so on and so forth. So, if you're still making it this far in the video, if you're someone that engages in that kind of stuff, just understand, if you're going to continue to divide people, just know you're probably not going to bring more people on board with you. Whereas if you're actually going to put your guard down and allow people to lay out their particular case, I think you might be able to exchange some ideas, and maybe you might agree or disagree, but you'll have a much higher chance of, one, keeping things civil, but two, potentially bringing people over to your side. So just kind of with that in mind, just really kind of think about maybe the next time you see someone, kind of launch accusations. And I understand this was just one example. Believe me when I tell you, you can go on any big political page or any someone who has a big following. If they post something political, typically it kind of boils down to what we just went over. To just call it out. I think that's the best way we can move forward with it. Call it out. Say, hey, this isn't really, improving relations with people who think differently politically. It's just aiding to the division. I think that's the best way we can kind of move past it. You need to also understand that some people are so wrapped up in the whole argument that they're never going to listen to you. And don't try and convince those people. You'll go, seriously, you'll go nuts trying to convince them to come to your side. You got to talk to the people that are in the middle. It's a much larger population than you might think. because the more people you bring over to your side, obviously the better you're going to do long term, you know, convincing people to then say, hey, you know, you're a little more rational, you seem like you're a little more fun to hang out with. So that's kind of it for today's topic. Like I said, it's only Monday, so I'm sure we are going to have some more breaking news as we move along in the particular week. But let me know what your thoughts are on this. You know, the whole pro-white, pro-black, do you really care? Or are you someone who still says, nope, pro-black is all about equality, pro-white is no good? You know, I'm not moving the needle on that particular one. Let me know how you feel on it, because I don't think it's going to go anywhere, unfortunately. I just personally see it getting a whole lot worse before it gets better. But as always, let me know if you want me to cover a particular topic. I appreciate you checking out the video, and I hope you'll be back again for some more sometime soon.